Hi guys, I want to talk a bit about something here. Gate. Gatekeeping. Now, what is gatekeeping? Gatekeeping is simply the action of protecting, like, you have the gatekeeper, okay? You have a gate that, like, surrounds, like, a castle. Essentially, a gatekeeper is a forefront. Basically, it's the conceptual, like, concept of like basically, okay, here's something, make sure no one gets in. So that's kind of like if we look at like through a materialistic lens, it's like literally it's making sure that there's a gate that no one is getting past. So if we have that in consideration, why then? So then, what is gatekeeping when in terms of like a non-physical thing? So like for instance, a lot of anime enjoyers, a lot of purveyors of anime, they all have like this thing of like, oh no, we need to gatekeep. Like I know someone who is like very adamant about gatekeeping anime. As far as like keeping like stereotypical homosexual guys from dabbling in it to stereotypical like bimbo woman trying to get into trying to watch anime too, because he simply like has this like unprofound or like very strong connection to whatever this anime is, or what anime is, or what the story is, or his like deep devotion to the concept of stories. He's like so devoted to the concept of stories that like it's almost like a religion for him, with how deeply his respect for stories kind of is. Sometimes it puts me off, sometimes I can understand it and it's animatable. Oftentimes it's like, what the fuck is this do on about, really? But either way though, it's like, okay, so that's media gatekeepers. So like, and again, movie gatekeepers, film gatekeepers, like community. That's where like the gatekeeping here. We're going to gatekeeping the community. Okay, a gated community. So historically speaking, how did the idea of a gated community come from? Well, if we look back at Jim Crow era America in the US, the idea of like a gate around this community probably stems from some racist people in the past who were like, racist white people, okay, specifically racist white people who did not want to partake in integrating the African Americans into the larger community of America. So they decided to once again isolate and keep their community intact because they did not want to interact with the African Americans, and they wanted the African Americans to not interact with them. Because, the idea of like white supremacy is the fact that other races are inferior to you, and giving them anything is going to poison humanity. So there's this fear of so now, okay, we have to now go in and talk. So, poison. Poison becomes an important war now. Poisoning the well, as they. Either way, though, so like poisoning the well. So basically, now here's where we do the full picture. Okay, basically, gatekeepers of a community gatekeepers. Okay, so the community is this box. It's a sacred box too. Let's put a cross on it to, do the allegory of it being like almost sacrilegious to them. Because it is sacrilegious to them. It's like they believe that this concept here is something so deeply, deeply valuable to protect. Like your wife, who you want no harm to be done, theoretically speaking. So you're gonna do everything in your power that no harm, no poison comes into this thing though. Like, and any like sign of there being poison or being intention of unwellness to this concept here, okay, that they're so vile that I mean not vile, but like they're just so devoted to protecting it that they're not gonna even let other people touch it because they fear that by them touching the concept that they're so eager to that they believe so deeply it's like a really really good and highly important, that it has to be like, so that anyone else who touches it could have a chance to poison it, and only those worthy enough that from the eyes of this someone out. But what happens when you have a whole community of gatekeepers within the community? So like all these people here, this is our group. So what if we have all these little circles, dots here, and these are all the gatekeepers now? And they're the deciders of who gets to interact with its concept here, wherever this concept may be. And then you have a red guy, two red guys that they don't meet standards and they're gonna boo. So boom. But then new guy comes in. Okay, he's accepted. Some other blue guy comes in. He's accepted. Blue guy, blue guy, blue guy. This is all metaphoric again. But then it's like, okay. Then you have a whole group of red people here. Look at how much more people you can have joining in on the fun. But like, But then this council here of the gatekeeper, they're like, they're all getting rejected because they don't meet inner standards. But what if one of them actually was qualified to join their ranks? But because he shares also the similarities of the red guys, he gets booted out. Or he doesn't even get joined in. And I wanna say, like, can something really be this valuable that people are just gonna execute others from like not interacting with it? Like, I'm sorry, but it's like a lot of these animes, like, what I can only tell from like why something should be protected is that it simply is that you have intellectually, like, you have anime that's like so thought-provoking, so like something a college professor can look at and be like, okay, the person who wrote this knows their stuff. And doesn't want retards fucking going into it because their enjoyment of something, because again it's the whole thing of like you didn't watch it the correct way, like you're supposed to do things correctly or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, so it's a way of like standards, but it's like, are those standards that like were set by someone else, by you, gatekeeper? Like, who holds the fucking authority here is what I'm asking when it comes to gatekeeping. Who holds the authority? Okay, because if someone enjoys something different. It's like math teachers when you answer the question, but then you give your explanation, and they don't like the fact that you use some sort of different like explanate or like some different method to do it. Like, that's essentially what gatekeepers are. It's like, okay, you're supposed to do it like this, or that. Don't do anything, then they get the fuck out. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna. No, that's kind of weird too, because it's like, I'll even mention like Zack Snyder, like I think on a Joe Rogan podcast, it's like people saying, oh, he should stop directing for the DC movies because he does a bad job. And that is because, I don't know, I think he's a bad writer. Either way, though, so you're gonna gatekeep him out of DC Comics, out of just superhero genres, him to stop, and gatekeep him out of the comics community because they don't like his movies. And the only people who do like his movies, apparently, are a bunch of incels.
This is their religion, and they feel strongly about it. And you're protecting your God in a weird way, right? You're making your God irrelevant if he can't be in that situation.
So, going off of what Zack Snyder said there, it's like, once again, I think people are just get really mad when you attack a product, or you do something with the product, and it's like, you can't do that. For instance, like the individual who I mentioned, really got mad when someone had a profile picture of Shanks from One Piece, and it was like an edited photo of like Shanks, but he looked emo and had like a neck tattoo, Photoshop on him, and he got kind of annoyed. I could just sense from the voice. Um, well, whatever. It like, again, gatekeepers just really do not like other people. Now we could make the idea of fascism or whatnot, but like, I don't know. It's like there's just something off about gate. I understand why gatekeeping has to be done. Okay, there's like, yes, okay, you don't want the community to be poisoned, but are we over filtering the water here now? Are we over filtering? Is there an over filtering? I think it's a problem of like how much filtering we really want.